I'm recording it here. So now we have recording in a couple different places. All right, just from this last weekend, I wanted to show these photos. I thought pretty cool to go from, I hope you enjoyed the lab. I think it's kind of cool to go from this old piece of log to a finished piece of wood that you can actually make something out of. And we saw a little bit of what we're going to do with puzzles. There's some of you. The only thing is cool, cedar's got that reddish wood. Plus, I love the smell of it. And there we go. Some folks using that table saw safely. And here we are with the laser cutter. So I promise you, we'll keep taking you. If you've done a laser cutter before, we'll teach you new techniques. All right. We're going to make a Google site, but we want to do HTML so you understand what's underneath it. All right. What is HTML and how does it work? We're going to cover preparing your editor and web host, a very basic web page. That's kind of the goal for tonight. Hopefully, from last week too, I should mention this. Hopefully you've tried setting up your Raspberry Pi at home. Everybody who said, I've got the Raspberry, raise your hand if you got your Raspberry Pi set up, please. At home, so at least we know that it's working. Leave your hands up. I'll put your hands down, guys. Don't worry about taking them down. So if you haven't, and there's a fair number you have not, please try it out. So when we get started on the Raspberry Pi, you're not spending your first day going, oh my goodness, my Raspberry Pi won't set up. All right, I'm putting everybody's hands down. Thank you. All right. Now, like I said, we're going to go into HTML, what it is, how it works, and we're editing it and doing that. All right. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. First appeared on the internet in 1991. It became a global standard for websites in 2000. This means that every single website you see today uses HTML. It has gone through several versions. All right, this is being the nervous version. Okay? Keep in mind that while HTML5 is the newest version, it is not officially accepted by W3C, the World Wide Web Commission, as an international standard for websites. HTML4 still holds that position, but should change sometime this year. So we're doing HTML5 is coming into place. 4 still holds the big position. Not that super important, but it is the standard. The more interesting thing on HTML is this was created in 1991. The internet was rolling by then, but it was really hard to use. I remember this. And I remember that it was really hard to use and that it wasn't practical without HTML. You had to do, I had computer people that were pretty knowledgeable. We all got on the net and it wasn't really workful. So a gentleman from the Netherlands, I believe, wrote up HTML. And the amazing thing is he did it on the side. It wasn't even his full-time job. Where he was working, they said, you can work on this HTML thing for this internet thing, but really we want you to work on your full-time stuff and if you can fit it in. So he created it and he never made any money off of it. He thought that was a really important thing. But part of this was everybody should be able to use it. So, which is really quite amazing if you think about it. All right. So how does it work? Just so you get a good sense of this. You have your HTML doc. Your HTML doc is what we're going to create tonight and play with it. It loads up to a server. When it gets on a server, in this case, it'll be your computer and your desktop, but in the real world, it's loaded up in a server farm. We have a big Apple server farm in North Carolina. One of the reasons we have it is these things use tons of electricity. And so they need all this energy. But there's a lot of states with energy. Texas has a lot of energy. Pennsylvania has a lot of natural gas. The reason they picked North Carolina in this instance is we are second in the country in solar and wind farms. And people like Apple and Google are very sensitive to the fact they want a small carbon footprint. They don't want to contribute to the environment warming up, to climate change. So if they use, their thought is if they use solar and wind, they're not contributing to it as much. All right? So anyways, big server farm is just boxes of machines. Your browser goes look at that file, translates it so you can see it. The server doesn't. It's your browser. HTML basic. How does it work? We keep talking about it. The file transfer protocol is called hypertext. Keyword there being text, folks. And you'll see in a minute why. Hypertext transfer protocol. This is the basis for the internet and client-server interaction. How your computer talks to YouTube. Servers store all web page information as the raw HTML file, like the ones you'll be creating, as well as any pictures or videos. Now, this is an important time. You're high schoolers. You got more opportunities to do things. Don't post any picture, no action on the internet that you wouldn't show your grandmother. Folks, you see this server farm? When that transfer protocol stores the HTML page or a Facebook posting and the video associated with it, it's there forever, even if you delete it. It never goes away, really. So do not put things on there that you wouldn't be willing to share with the world. If you apply to colleges, they do look that up. 15 students that were already accepted into Harvard were kicked out before the first day of class because they said some patently terrible things. We could debate whether you should have kicked them out or kept them in there and then tried to educate them, but Harvard made up its own mind. They're saying, we don't have to put up with that. So don't you. Your friend and you may make a joke that you would never do in real life, and that's just being really sarcastic. Well, on the web, it's hard to know that. So I'm just saying to you as a teacher, as a friend, on behalf of your parents, do not put things on the internet you shouldn't, unless you want the whole world to see it. Browsers take that raw film. Browsers take that real film, raw file, HTML file from the server that you're visiting and translate it into something nice and viewable in real time. Okay, I'm sorry I'm getting these. Sorry. These will pop up. I got to turn that off. And the way that browsers do this, encoding is often why you find that some browsers are faster than others and some will load faster. We use Google Chrome, Firefox for the most part. I highly recommend those two. Now, as far as writing the HTML format, you can use something like Dreamweaver, Adobe Dreamweaver, but that's really a powerful program. It's also powerfully expensive. If you want a big tool, I would recommend Brackets, B-R-C-K-E-T-S, Brackets. But for tonight, we don't even need that. We're going to use a text editor. Notepad on Windows, TextEdit on Mac. All right? And we're going to save our files onto the desktop. Okay? Okay. Now I'm going to try to keep that off there. Now, so here we are. And you've got on your computer. Now let me tell you something. When we go save this, save it on your desktop. If there's an old index HTML, it won't let you save, Mac users. Macs have kind of got annoying on it. All right, so one thing, let me show you. When I've had it up and was playing with it just a little bit ago. When you go to save it, this format we're going to have right here, I'm going to go ahead and pull all the stuff off. All right. Make sure you format it. That has make reg text. Make sure you convert yours open to make just plain text. So can everybody either open up WordPad or text edit? Raise your hand when you've done it so I know you've gotten it done. All right, excellent. Got a bunch of raised hands. Let's get everybody else. Come on, raise them up, folks. All right. Make sure you Mac users, WordPad you don't have to worry about. Mac users, make sure you convert it over. You convert it over, go to options under under format, make simple text. So there's no indices there. All right. See, like if you do this, it's going to look like this. We don't want that. We don't want it to look like that. We want to make it plain text, which I just shrank it all down. So let me zoom it up. What I want you to do now is, once you've done that, please type this out, folks. Put everybody's hands down. Let me know once you've done that. All right, raise your hand. I'm going to put everybody's hands on. When you've typed this whole thing in, raise your hand so that way we know. All right, people are putting their hands up. Your speed demons. Well impressed. Go up here. Let me see. All right, Joshua, we need you to let us know when you got it. Kate, I don't know if you can because you're on the web. Levi, let me know when you've got it because we're going to win. All right, looks like we just about everybody here. I really appreciate you guys being here tonight with the weather and everything else. So, all right, now we're going to, so you can see something here. Let's talk about this first line of code you typed in here. And this line of code right here says bracket, exclamation, doc type, HTML. What that basically is a little tab telling a web browser, hey, this is going to be an HTML. Look for this being HTML page. And then HTML, it says, this is where all my HTML code's going to go. And there's a head on this and a body. The head isn't obvious. What you do, most of your code is going into this body. And I'll show you on the presentation slides, but most of it goes there. But in here under head, and we can do this right now, we can do title, Mr. D page, all right, bracket, slash, title, bracket. And what you do is you hit File, Save. Now, when you go to save this, remember, I've been making this. You want to make sure this is index on the desktop, index.html. So everybody do that. Index comes from when we originally setting up the internet. You had all these file storage things, and it was an index. That was always agreed upon first page. All right? What's great there is when I load it up, okay. All right, I'm sorry. There's someone trying to text 5,000 things to us right here. I apologize. Hopefully that'll be it. All right, now, when I go to hit Mr. D page, I'm going to go ahead and hit, I'm going to update it. It's going to update it right there. All right, oh, great. Why is my page going now? Great. Pull this up. Let me see if it shows it. It's not. Something's really wrong here. Let me go into Chrome. It may have just messed this up. Yeah, now my index page. I'm going to delete this. Bear with me one second, folks. Let me go back in here. I just have to start over. Get out of that. File, new, format. All right, I'm going to make plain text. All right, I'm going to pull this back up so I can just look at this real quick. Let me pull this right through. Talk about safety here in a minute. Here's what I'm looking for right there. All right. So, again, just so I'm not in a rush and I do it wrong, Control plus. What? There we go. Doc type. So Mr. D's page. And just to make it more readable, I'll put the white space right down like this. And then the most of where you do work is right here in the body. We'll get to that in a minute when we start putting in there. And then I've got a final /HTML at the end. All right, so we hit format. I hit save. Should ask me where I want to save it. I'm going to save it on the desktop. I'm going to save it as index. .html. Save it. It's going to ask me, do I really want to do that? I want to use HTML. Yes, that's what I want to do. Now if I go over here, pull my index, there it is. It shows up. See, when I made it rich format text, it messed it up to show you what it would look like. So there's my index. And all right, now what I didn't do is, I will bet you I go back and look at this. Let me go back under my code in my rush to do this. Okay, where it says head, what we really needed to add there was title. So in between that, I'm going to put in here bracket, title, bracket, / title. Remember, it's also nested. What I mean by that, I'm making this bigger for y'all to see it. So say there's the head. And I'll put it over this side so you can see a little better. All right. So under head title, Mr. D's page. So when I save this, watch what it does. When I open it now, if I refresh this, up here in my tabs, it says Mr. D's page. Now the page doesn't have much in it because we haven't put anything in the page, but you all can see that. Can everybody put their tab up? Let me know once you have it. All right, raise your hand if you got that title up so it works. So anybody got any questions? Let me go down and look at the questions. I apologize. Hey, do we need our Raspberry Pis? Not yet. Hello, Mr. Vic. All right, good to see those guys. Oh, good. I got people remember doing this. All right, I'm sorry, guys. I've been doing this. Can you repeat instructions? My Wi-Fi is cutting in and out. I will absolutely do. Okay, here we go. This. Someone says there's not working. Make sure you have the text. I can't find the file. Let's try this again, guys. I'll show you the instructions. Have right here, have exclamation doctype HTML. HTML, head, /head, body, /body, HTML. All right? What I want you to see, you're going to use that either in Notebook or on the other one. Save it to the desktop. When you go to save the file, I'm just going to bring up text there. I'm going to give it something else, a different name, because it will add weird if I do it. But if I did a new file, so I'm going to save it. I'm going to pull up a new file. Format. I would change it again to make plain text. This is only in the Mac world. And then I would do file, save it, but make sure it's in a desktop, and make sure, I'm going to call it new file. And in both cases, you type index.html. I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to cancel it right there. Okay? Don't delete. So back to index. Did that help? Philip, did that help? I can't get it to come up in my browser. Are you using Chrome? And did you end it with the extension .html? Was it index.html? Do I need your Raspberry Pi? Someone asked a couple that. No, not tonight. We're going to get through this first. All right, someone got it. Some of theirs just got it. Kate, how we doing there? Cohen, I'm glad you got yours, man. I'll put people's hands down here, man. We got a lot of people have gotten it, but some people still need a hand, so let's give them a hand here. Put everybody's hands down on this. I'm putting your hands down. You don't have to raise them back up. We're getting it. All right, Philip. Philip got it. I forgot to see. Got it. Got it. Mateo's got it. Excellent. Well done, guys. If you still don't have, most everybody's got it now, but if you don't, I will stay on at the end of this webinar and help you on there. I think you'll find it. It's going to be on your desktop. Save it on your desktop, all right? And then just click on it, and your browser should pull it right up. All right. All right, Kate, she's on the web. So hopefully, let me know, Kate. Be sure at the end of this, we'll stay and get it. Mixed Lab was someone just asked. It says my file was not found. Tim, it should be saved. Look on your desktop. You should literally see the file there is index.html. John Mark, what we're doing is going to be starting on the Infinity Mirror. But if you need to come out, we'll try to figure out what we'll do after that. All right, but we'll get it from there. All right, now, doc type HTML. Here it is. I can't remember, John Mark, if you were Thursday night or Saturday. I thought you were Thursday. All right, here it is. We can get you caught up some way. Now, once you've got that, it's in this body that we start to do things. So you can do headings here. So you do bracket, because we enclose it. We do H1. All right. Bracket. Biggest. H/H1. Then bracket. H5. Bracket. Smallest. All right. Bracket slash H5 bracket. All right, so there it is. So if I save that file, I have to save it. If you use brackets, that program, you don't even have to, it'll automatically update for you. There it is, biggest, smallest on headings. Headings automatically kick it down to the next line down. Go ahead and try that. People asking questions, I'm making sure to check on this right there. Let me know once you, I'm going to put everybody's hand on, let me know once you've got that to work. This explains, by the way, on text fonts, in a word processor, you can set it at 42, 36. Those are all vector fonts. On the web, everything is headings and things. So it's really, you have a lot harder time changing the scales on that because of the way HTML is set up that we all have to work on there. All right, we got some more people still doing that. Because it's 8:35, do like to do a little bit of a poll here. Couple quick ones, right? Got a couple of them. Those people that we all came to lab last week, what's the story on this? When you went to the week, either last Thursday or Saturday, what'd you think of it? 71% voted. All right, we got 86. Once I get above 80, I usually close the poll in 4 seconds or so. 4, 3, 2, 1. Closing the poll. We always share the results. And a bunch of you really liked it. And you thought it was good. All right, great. I'm glad you liked it. Real quick, we're going to hide the results. Did you just want to know if you're coming to the webinars? Quick, we'll add that one. Just vote for me on that. At 86%, let me count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Notice I did 4 last time. Now I'm doing 5. Not sure why. Close poll. Share results. 93% did that. Good job. All right. And last thing, just for me to know, you'll have Mr. DeToy next week, but or Wednesday. Just today, how's my pacing been? So it helps me do a better job as we're talking here. Okay. All right. 86% voted. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Share results. Pacing's good. 92%. Some said fast, but certainly no one saying too slow. Okay. Well, we'll try to help everybody out and help questions, and I'll do a better job of explaining so everybody likes the pacing. All right, so now we're back to this text editor. So we have this line of code tells your web browser, hey, this is an HTML file. This is where all the HTML code will be found right in here. This Mr. D is what you see up here. All right, here's under the body. Now we can start doing all kinds of things here. So you can do this. Paragraphs. This is an example of a paragraph. A paragraph. We will call this number 1. So if I do that, then I've got to do this /p. This is paragraph 2. And again, that won't really do it. So what we need to do is tell it, and make it a new. I'll make it so a little bit easier to read. Notice I'm going to show you this though. A break is a little bit different. So this is paragraph 2. All right. When you do this, so we'll go ahead and we'll see it. Well, let's compare the two. We got paragraph there. Then I'm going to have all right, it's deleted the one thing. We'll call this number 1. Hang on one second. Did something wrong. Everybody else will work on this. Paragraph 1. Let's do this. I'm not sure why I'm not getting that second paragraph break. I'm doing something dumb. H1 biggest, 1 smallest, 5. We still have that. This is an example of a paragraph. We will call this number 1. Let's get that lowercase p. P. This is paragraph 2. Oh, this is why it's not working. Oh, we did that, so we're going to plop this right here. Let's see if this does it. Make sure that's right. File, save. This is an example paragraph. We will call this number 1. Huh. What am I doing wrong? Somebody up there? Go any questions? Pull this up. All right, let me go over here and see what I'm doing. Something very dumb. I am confident. All right, got the body. That's there. Body's there. Based on a paragraph. This is an example of paragraph. We call this number 1. Boom. P. Oh, here's why. See that character? That made no sense to it. All right. Now let's do that. File. Coding's always does what you tell it, not what you want it to do, which makes it really easy to mess it up. There it is. Notice this example of a paragraph. We'll call this number 1. This is paragraph 2. All right. See how there's this? Well, let's go ahead and play with that a little bit. Watch what happens when we do this. So you've got it. So this is paragraph 2. There's no break. This is paragraph 2. There's no break here. Here's an example of a break. But to really drive that point home, I need to do this. You see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? Well, save. Take a look at that, folks. Wow, sorry about that take. We are using either, if you're Mac, you're using text editor. If you're Windows, you're using WordPad. Now, folks, take a look at this. Here's label, highest and biggest. This is an example paragraph. We'll call this one number 1. This is paragraph 2. There's no break here. This is an example of a break. See how it goes down? When you use paragraph, there's a space, and there'll be an indentation sometimes after it. When there is, see how there's a space there? But when you just use the break command, there is no space. We use this for ordering lists a lot of times. All right? So if you want to try that, I'm going to put the code right up there for you, right there. All right? All right. We're going to end up using Google Site or updating your site, so I'm going to show you some more tricks to make it look cool on that. But I want you to see this HTML on here, so that way you understand the limitations to it. All right. If you're done looking at that, you've got to do that so far, just go ahead, raise your hand so I know it. Got a lot of people still working on it, so let's let them keep working. All right, I'm just going to go ahead. Let's play with some other things here. So there's no break here. We can do this. This looks a little bit different what our PowerPoint was, but you get the depth. Now, say I want to bold the word or italicize the word paragraph. I can just sit there and go, little I break here, and then slash I right here. So this nesting, if I have paragraph on the outside, last started, last closed, last open, first closed. So when I do that and save it, watch what it does. All right, let me go to my page. There's no italics. Now watch in a minute. This is now italicized. And you can do that with U for underlined. You can do that for strike through. May I make a pitch that you use strike through in your documents and your codes? That way you know if you've removed anything. All right? So anytime, let me go up here, just make this point, and we'll look at the over here. So make sure there's no question here before I go on, just real quick. Okay, good. All right. We saved it. It'll show up on your web browser as an index file. Then here's this. This, again, was a tag to tell you, hey, this is an HTML, going to be an HTML file. Here's where all our code is going to be between these two HTMLs. Head is just for labeling, like we saw on Mr. D's page. And body is we're doing most of this work. Don't worry about that slash there. It's a mistake on my part. So notice this was the last, all right, tag. All right, they're nested. So the last tag has to be closed before you go to the openings. So I have head, then title, slash head. You don't do head, title, slash head, slash title. They're nested within each other. Some aren't nested, but for the most part they are. So there was headings we just did. There's a paragraph. Notice how it indents down. Breaks don't. Come back to breaks a little bit later. B for bold. I for italicized. U for underline. Again, bracket U slash U. And then there's strikes through. Good way of tracking. Did you take that off? Really good, honestly, from a student's perspective. Do strike through. So when teachers edit your work, you can say, I took that out already. Why are you making me put that back in, kind of thing, you know? And you can do a combination, but remember just to nest them. So if you wanted both bold and italics, you would do bold. You could do bold or you could do I on the outside. The order doesn't matter here, but it does matter there. If you do I as the last one, it has to be the first one closed, and then the B has to be closed. Last open, first closed. Just remember that. You'll go a long way with it. All right? And then here was the line break. Break is one of the few that are unpaired. All right. Now, we're going to stop at this point. Time to Toy will take you Wednesday. And we'll keep going on farther with this. We're going to make sure you try your Raspberry Pis. Get it working on TV. You want to be able to do the internet. You won't need it for Wednesday, but we are going to send you an email and let you know when you have. All right, let me just do this. All right. I'm going to go ahead and launch this poll. Fair enough. 86 voted. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I show results. Nearly 7% liked it. 30% said it was okay. Nobody said it was poor. Let us know how I can improve on these. It's the only way I want to get better. You're not going to hurt my feelings. All right, let me hide those results. I'm going to stay on. Let me go back down here. I'm going to. Oh, good. I'm glad you're back up to speed, Joshua. I'm going to stay on for anybody who had a question on this. All right. That way you can. I'm here to answer any questions. Anybody got some questions right now? But I hope you see when we do Google Sites, for example, you can in the classic Google site actually put in the actual HTML code. I work on some of my, if you go to the Fly to Learn website, I've written some of the code on that website. Most of it I'm not. I hired someone to do most of that website. But because I understood enough HTML, I was able to fix things. So it's like, if you can fix your toilet, you don't have to call a plumber and save $150, right? So same thing, you're going to use web pages. All right, what do we do with Raspberry Pi again? Oh, Levi asked that question. Great, I'm glad you asked. We are going to use it in a couple different ways. We are going to use the Sense Hat, and we're going to be using it to learn Python, then use it with the Sense Hat, then use it with the AI, IBM's AI. All right. Thank you. Will you be making an on-again accelerator with HTML? No, we're just doing this real quick. Will we be using CSS? Henry, no. We're just using HTML so you get a sense of it. If we have time permits at the end of the semester, we have more time, we can always go back to it. But really, there's so much we need to do. We're going to have to hit that, all right? Can I ask another thing real quick? Some of you guys already said bye, and I get it because it's 8:52. We'll do a survey. I've lost some of the folks already. How many of you already know Python? Raise your hand if you know Python. Okay. By far, the most majority I do not know Python. Well, we will be teaching Python, and we will hopefully add to your repertoire of Python. All right. Well, I'm going to stay on. If you want to get off, you can go ahead and get off. My goal is to always try to end by 8:55 this year. Well, last year we tended to go real late. Sometimes we could end up going late. I know you got a lot going on. All right. So thank you very much. I'm going to stay on for anybody who has a question and would just like to ask me individually. You bet, Laura. Thanks, guys. Thank you for coming. Really do appreciate it, everybody. Does anybody have a question? You're all welcome. How does one make an online video game? You know, there are browser-specific games. So what they'll do is you'll have to end up doing the same thing you're doing there. Also, honestly, most online browser games are going to be using the same tools like Unity and things, and they already have them built in there to write the code up onto it. Now, some of them use JavaScript, which is not the same thing as Java. They just gave it that name because everybody knew what Java was, which is kind of confusing. So JavaScript is one that you might use in a language that works with a browser. And then the other ones now, the tools are out there so extensive that you can make a game that is, well, it works on the phone, it works on a PC, it works on the PlayStation. That they make it so it's across platforms, and there's tools to help you port things back and forth. Okay, I'll answer your question there. Hang on one second there. Who's Levi? Hey, Levi.
There it is. Okay.
There you go. What's your question, bud?
I think I have been having a little bit of a connection issue.
Right.
Sort of. And have you been getting any of my questions I've asked?
Okay, I haven't heard any of them when you type them down. They're like on there. So that was the one. This is the first one I saw. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna write an answer back to yours. Look for enter questions here. I'm gonna send it privately to you. Okay. So on your thing, pull out to put your questions there. Also, next time, what I'll do is I'll ask you to stick up your hand when you have questions, so I can do a better job. All right. So,
okay.
So this will remind Tom DeToy. But if you'll write them, I'm always looking on my screen. If you could see my screen, you would see I'm looking down. I get a list of all kinds of questions down there. I got a ton of them actually now because of people talking to me and chatting to me. All right?
Okay.
Are we good to go?
One more question. So what are we doing with Raspberry Pi again? Were we supposed to do something this week with it?
Okay, here we go again with Ravs. Did you miss that? Don't worry, you're not doing anything this week with it other than Levi. I would like you to turn it on, make sure it runs at home. So get next to it, your TV or something, hook it in the HDMI, start it up. We will next week probably, depending how fast we go, start using the Raspberry Pi. All right? Or we'll begin at the very using Python, but we want to make sure everybody has a Raspberry Pis rolling. Does that make sense?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Take care, guys. All right.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to mute you. All right. Harry, I'm going to go ahead. Kate, do we have any other questions? Write your questions here, guys. All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and save this so later on I can upload all these too. Okay? So take care, everybody. Have a great evening. Bye-bye, all.